This is Off Track.
Well, look, guys, I'd say good morning, but it's not. It's not a good morning for 3 of the 4 people on this show.
You waited 45 seconds.
We're not talking about you. You're so narcissistic. This has nothing to do with you.
No, it's not about, you're also having a bad morning.
Sure.
I'm talking about our guests on our Tuesday show of Off Track with Hinch and Rossi, Mr. Ryan Hunter-Reay, who joins us very kindly from, I don't know, beachside, waterside, somewhere in sunny Florida. Hey, Ryan, screw you.
Hey, guys. Hey, thanks for finally having me on. I appreciate it.
You've been on plenty of times.
You have been on. At
You've
least
definitely
twice.
been on before.
You are as
Maybe
much
in
of
like
a
a
repeat
suite
guest
at
as Connor.
Yeah, so we're just looking at your setup here. Is I'm wearing a toque, Alex is in a beanie, Tim doesn't count, and you're sitting there short sleeve, palm tree t-shirt, enjoying the sun down in Florida. It must be nice.
It is. Look, real nice.
Oh, you're gonna show us the view. Oh, cool. That's nice.
Good.
Yeah.
This is your second Florida home because your first Florida home wasn't warm enough, so you went further south.
Yeah, a few hours south. You have to get get away from that cold for sure.
So serious question. Retirement doesn't suck.
No, it doesn't. For sure not. I mean, I've become a treasure hunter now, so this is what I'm doing down here. I've bought a treasure hunting boat.
Did you?
Looking for coins.
Did you actually?
You wouldn't doubt that, would you?
No, I wouldn't for a second.
No,
I can see you with the mats in the living room. And
I'm just picturing Hunter-Reay hunched over with his big headset on, his metal detector, walking up and down the beach, like, honey, I think I got one. You know?
Oh no, we're talking treasure hunting boats where you go out and you're finding all these. The coast here's got so many shipwrecks. Obviously, I have no passion in that. So yeah,
so
I can tell you about every shipwreck off the coast here.
I'm getting Matthew McConaughey from Fool's Gold vibes. Is that?
it's an underrated movie, actually.
It's pretty banging, man. I feel like it's like Kevin Hart's theatrical debut as well. So a little historic. Well, good, man. Yeah. To Alex's point, I mean,
I want to interrupt real quick. I'm pretty sure Soul Plane came first, which is not an underrated movie.
Oh, was that before Fool's Gold?
It was appropriately rated.
Yeah.
Fair. But to Alex's point, I wouldn't have used the word retirement because we know you still, wheel it from time to time. But how does Ryan Hunter-Reay spend? We know how you spend your Mays. How do you spend your Junes through Aprils these days?
Just snorkeling and looking for coins, man. That's all I do. And then I get on a flight. I get on a Spirit flight to Indy, and then I go do my thing, turn left real fast, and that's it. Yeah. That's when I go back to snorkeling.
Right.
Dude,
you're not doing this.
My day-to-day, honestly, is I've been working a bit with Miami GP, the Precision Driving Club there, their new driving club. Been doing a bit of that. Mainly, it's been working with Beck on all these rental properties that we have, trying to get that whole thing tuned up. And honestly, with the three boys and everything that we have going, it's just a constant. I mean, I don't know how anybody would have 3 kids, and be a single parent, because it's just a constant trade-off all the time.
Yeah.
So it's just with all that stuff going on and everything that we have, on the property management side, and then I'm trying to get this stuff going with Precision Driving Club and Miami GP, and just dipping my toes in the little things here and there. It's the time's all zapped up, other than when I'm here, looking
other
for
than
coins.
Snorkeling for coins. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I feel like your version of retirement and mine are very different. You're getting a lot more sun and water time in than I am. I'm doing it wrong.
You're grinding. Well, you're making a lot of money. That's a good thing. I've heard some of those figures. So,
well, I mean, it's I'm currently unemployed in every aspect. So, I've got a driving job. I've got my IMSA gig. So I've got one gig on the go, but still looking for a few more if anybody's interested.
I want to do some IMSA gig. I want to do Daytona, and I just haven't ever since the prototype stuff kind of the landscape changed there. I just really haven't spent a lot of time looking into it. So
I mean, that's a follow-up question. Like, is it something that you kind of are chasing, or is it still kind of the aspect that, okay, if people are interested, they're going to pick up the phone and call for GTs, for really anything? Or like, where's your mindset?
He's saying, I'm RMFHR, you call me.
No, no, it's always like Alex knows, like, James, it's like, it's always kind of been that way in IndyCar and how all the years that I did prototypes, it was like that. It was just a constant, like, okay, here's an option here, here's an option there. I'm looking, and I was with Ganassi in the Cadillac program, that kind of dried up, and the prototype landscape changed when the manufacturers brought in their own, or really brought their driver lineups from Europe and stuff like that, aside from obviously the Cadillac side of it. So the prototype scene kind of changed a bit, other than maybe one or two seats here or there. Obviously the Ganassi seats are usually reserved. The endurance seats are reserved for their full-time IndyCar drivers. Obviously they're amazing drivers, so why wouldn't they? There's just not a whole lot available on that side of it. And I have no idea when it comes to the GT paddock. So I just haven't really, I find myself, I was just doing a half season in 2023 in IndyCar. Obviously 2024 was Indy 500 only. And I find myself now here like, okay, I probably should, look into that a bit more, because I absolutely want to do the, at least the endurance side of it. For sure.
Well, I know you're getting your, outside of the month of May, you're scratching your competitive itch in a different way by moving into the coaching realm.
Yes.
I gather you've already won a championship as a head coach.
Yeah, I have 2 championships now.
Two. Pardon me.
Yeah. Well, if you want to deal with
your baby Borg, your Astor Cup, and then what's the league? The Pee Wee football,
Fort Lauderdale flag football. Yeah.
2-time champ.
Big
You're
time.
the Bill Belichick of Fort Lauderdale flag football.
Trophy's about that big, and it goes right in front of the baby Borg. Right there. Yeah.
Is that fun? Do you enjoy coaching the kids?
It's awesome. It's a lot of fun. I get way too competitive at it. I get way too serious into it, and I have to constantly bring myself back down. But man, it's a lot of fun when they get into it. And I've always liked the coaches, especially when I was younger, that were a bit harder than the ones that were just like super like, all right, everybody, you did a great job. Doesn't matter if we win or lose. I'm just like, just happy to be here. So I'm the other side of it for sure.
Yeah, I've seen some clips.
I could guess that. Yeah.
So why flag football?
I just grew up doing flag football, and then I did tackle football in high school. So it just was the same thing as I did. And some of my friends have their kids in tackle football, and I don't know, just kids absolutely crushing heads at that age while they're still growing is such a scary thought to me. I mean, you should see some of my friends have their kids at quarterback. One of my friends, my best friend growing up, he's got 2 kids, quarterbacks. They're maybe, 12, 13, and maybe 14. And these kids are playing guys that are bigger than us. Kids that are 14 that are bigger than us. And just absolutely taking their heads off, and it's wild to witness. But no, I'm not really interested in having the kids do that.
Have you gotten to the point in your coaching career where there's like been parents that are trying to bribe you with bourbon bottles or any sort of politics that exist to get their kids more playing time?
It's just complaints. Okay. That's it. I wish I'd like to get some of those. James, you guys would do that because your cabinets are loaded with the expensive stuff.
I'm staring at an entire wall of it right now. It's very hard to not dive in at 9 o'clock in the morning. So
whatever
do you have
with
any?
Your line? Didn't you guys come up with your own kind of? Didn't you have your own?
We bought some barrels. Yeah, we bought some barrels through our.
We weren't distilling it ourselves.
Group. We weren't making it.
No,
we were just choosing it, drinking it, and selling it. But so do you have any good stories from like complete raging parents that you had to like put in their place?
Not really complete raging parents. It's more dealing with the complaints afterwards and the dynamic of that. Because at that age, you do want to give kids like their fair shot, right? I mean, you want to give, they're learning, so you want to give them. But at the same time, if Timmy doesn't want to play football or he doesn't want to do, that position, I'm not going to play him at that position. And these kids are fast. Like once you get into the 9, 10, Timmy, you can play on my team anytime. I don't want to play.
Yeah. I'll mess up some kids. Let's go. I'm in for the tackle one though. If I'm playing with the kids, I want to bring the pain.
Take the aggression out.
Oh man, that's good.
Yeah. No, there's not really any great stories on that side of it. It's more the dealing with the other coaches and the eyeing them and like on a warm up, like when they're looking at you run your plays, I'm looking over there. I'm like, are you serious? These kids are 9, 10 years old. You're trying to understand our, plays before we go out. That's when I lose. All the competitors come out and I'm going for the throat at that point. Yeah. I wish you guys could see some of that. The dynamic with the other coach sometimes.
That's awesome.
I can't wait to read article in the newspaper headline: Indy 500 champ Ryan Hunter-Reay caught in brawl at children's football game with other coach.
I can see how it happens sometimes. Not necessarily parent to parent,
Right.
coach to coach. Yeah.
I changed my mind. I do want to play now. Yeah. That sounds-
All right. So you talk about being kind of one race a year at the moment. You got the benefit that most one-off guys don't get of at least doing a test this past October, I think it was.
Yeah.
At IMS with Dryer, with the hybrid. Like, walk us through how that was. Did it meet expectations? Was it difficult to get used to? Like, where do you stand on that?
It was, I mean, it was just awkward. Is the best way I can put it.
It's a good word. I'm going to start using that more. Yeah.
It was awkward. It was just, I really like Dryer Reinbold's, our kind of baseline setup, our race car, especially. I really like the feel that it gives me early in the corner, meaning the rear takes a good set. And from there, I don't necessarily have a super weak front end, which is rare. I mean, you remember, Alex, you ran the thing as loose as possible at Indy with Andretti. I didn't necessarily like how you had the rear kind of moving a lot until it took a set mid-corner. Whereas this gave me more of a feel of like how I want it taking that set, and it still had a good amount of turning, positive car. Now with the weight where it is with the hybrid unit, it was sometimes when you're not in the car a lot, you get in the car and you start driving into the corner and you're thinking, did that just happen, or have I just not been in the car for a few months? And you start thinking that stuff, and then I'm like, yeah, I've been doing this for way too long. Your first instinct is your gut instinct, and you know it's right, and that's it. And then I started feeling it more and more, and I'm like, I'm sliding halfway through the corner at the rear. Like I'm actually loose. It's just this really awkward rear, slow kind of slide to the corner once it takes a set. And then even then, the rear was never super connected, and we worked through some of that. Yeah, we made it, I guess less bad is what you could call it, but I don't know. You and I spoke, Alex, briefly about it at the time, and you I think you basically said, yeah, it's hard to get close in traffic, or harder than it was and stuff like that. But that was a change for me from where we were baseline in 2024 to where we are with that big old suitcase stuck in the rear now. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, but at least the suitcase delivers a lot of performance,
which I could basically not feel. Yes.
That was going to be my follow-up question. Was, how do you like the button?
Yeah, I was like, here we go. I'm coming up on this guy and pass him, and you're like, is that a little bit more draft, or is that the is the button being deployed? And then when you got to regen the thing, yeah. So it's certainly a work in progress for me. We've seen this in the past, right? Drivers get super concerned about new things that come in, and you're like, oh, the race is going to be terrible. It's going to suck. The show's going to suck. We're screwed. And somehow we find a way to make it all work and make it a good race. But I haven't quite felt something like this big of a change in a while, where it really made getting close in traffic. Like, it just feels like there's just too much weight on the tire that we have, and that's it. The tires just had enough. It's like, okay, I'm done. I'm out. That's how it feels.
Is it sort of comparable to what the front felt like once they added the aero screen, right? Because that was it's a similar sort of conversation. But I remember when the aero screen came on, everyone was just talking about that death plow understeer. You couldn't get the right front to dig in, and everyone was just, as soon as you were 5 car lengths behind a car, you were stuck there. Now you're talking about the rear having that weird feeling now with a bunch of extra weight back there. Is it kind of similar?
Same kind of deal, just, being the opposite.
No, just made it heavy on both ends of the car.
Yeah. And the front was just a little bit easier to manage. At least it was in front of you, right? You knew when it was taking off. You had some workarounds to it. But yeah, it just feels that same kind of oversaturated feeling. And once it gets to that point, it's not coming back. But yeah, the car just feels so heavy. I mean, it really does feel like, compared to what we did, back in, how the cars were when Alex was just a child, in 2014, 2015, 16.
He was there in 16, right?
Yeah, I know. 2014 was, the car just felt really light. It just felt, really aero dependent.
Nimble, agile.
It felt super, and it feels completely the opposite now, which is a shame.
So
it feels like a sports car.
Yeah. I was going to say, does your stock car experience come into play now? Because you've got this big, heavy thing you're sort of rolling around the track.
Absolutely. SRX are coming to play. It does. It feels more like a sports car kind of. It's definitely, it's just too heavy.
So you've had the test, you're back with the team, the team. Now at least you have a little bit of a sense of the car and its current configuration heading into May. And I assume there's still like the April test that's going to happen.
Yep.
Is that still a thing? Right. So you have another test even before practice week kicks off. The kind of big change in your program in totality is a new teammate for 2025 in Jack Harvey. Have you had a chance to talk to Jack much about it? I know he wasn't at the test. And then also just kind of what is your take and your opinion and your experience on who the driver is in that other car? Is that very important to you? Is that someone that you lean a lot on, or because you have so much practice time in Indy, it's less important? What's kind of your teammate dynamic at the Speedway?
Yeah, super pumped to have Jack on. Obviously, he's a really good dude, which is you kind of want to work with guys that can set the egos aside, right? Work together for the betterment of what you're going to put on what product you're going to put on the track on race day. And he's that type of guy. Worked with him obviously in the past at Andretti, we're really looking forward to working with each other, and hopefully we have and want similar things in the car. Based on our conversations, it seems to be that would be the case. But everybody has their own quirks and what they want from a race car and traffic and in qualifying and things like that. So hopefully those are aligned. But really, it comes down to just hit the ground running with a guy that's fully open and willing to work together. And I'm looking forward to it for sure. Good pick by Ryan Reinbold, and all the best. Wish Connor all the best at Juncos.
I know it's never straightforward in motorsports, but was after being the one-off effort, getting the team into the Fast 12 in qualifying last year, having a strong month of May like you did, was it pretty much, for the most part, a foregone conclusion that this was going to be a repeat thing in 2025? Was it a pretty easy deal to put together?
Yeah, I mean, all the support in the background, meaning all the partners on the Ryan Reinbold side, they were all gung ho to come back, and it was basically like, hey, let's as soon as you're ready, let's get this done, let's get it on paper, and well,
that's got to be a nice experience, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. As opposed to like when we. My first year with Ryan Reinbold, you remember when we ran the black mystery car right up until, it's just all black the whole way right up until, was it even Carb Day? I think so. Yeah. So this is just, way more straightforward. And now we're able to do more development work. Obviously not as much as the full-time teams, right? But we're able to do a lot more on the development side. Dampers, wind tunnel, things like that. When we have the budget in place early on, it makes it a lot easier. So that's really good. Yeah.
Are you getting to do like sim days? Do you have any days playing with the team?
Yeah, I've done some. That was back in maybe October, November, and we're working through that model. I know Alex is doing some work there. Yeah, he loves doing that. He loves.
Big fan. Big sim guy.
Big sim guy. Remember how much we used to do with the Honda?
I'll tell you something, James, that you might not know this. Actually, all Chevy teams are getting some of their days cut for using the sim from the IndyCar side because of a certain Cadillac F1 program. So,
I heard the days are being cut.
Which one?
If it was NASCAR or what?
Right.
That's interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, sorry to hear that. Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. Neat.
I get it. I guess
Are
until
you
they have
bummed that
their
you're
own.
not going to be in the sim as much, Alex?
No.
Oh, okay.
It was Alex's idea to like, hey, what don't you think that the Cadillac F1 guy should be using this a little bit?
There's a lot of money you're going to be spending on this. You should probably get some use out of it.
Right.
Well done.
Oh, that is good times. Okay, so you come in there, it's a part-time program, one-off deal for you. What do you go into the month of May with the realistic goal of accomplishing?
Right now, we just need a workaround, right? We need a reset on this new on the new weight distribution with the hybrid there. There's a lot of work to do. The hardest thing about coming together, even when you have a group that's super competent, right, and full of potential, is all these teams do this week in and week out. The communication on the stand, the performance engineers or DAGs or whatever every team wants to call them, just monitoring all these channels of data and constantly keeping on top of everything and making sure that you're not missing something. That's one of the hardest things, is getting this whole group together and somehow working cohesively and seamlessly right from the get-go. No mistakes. To get it all nailed down even by race day is tough. And these guys have been, these people that are on the team have been at Penske, have been at Ganassi, have been at Andretti, but still just getting them all together for this one time a year, I think that's one of the biggest challenges. So that's one of the goals, obviously, is to work through that at a quicker rate, at a more effective in a more effective timeline, and then trying to just get some mechanical workaround to where the setup is with this with this awkward feeling I was talking about, because it's not
so
great.
How do you feel about this idea? You have the team set up the pit stand in the shop, and through the magic of the internet, you from one of your multiple homes in Florida,
right.
You can get on iRacing, and you guys can all be patched in, and you could do a full 500-mile sim just test session.
We did that on
way,
NBC. Yeah,
right. Yeah. No, but this is for a group that needs to learn to communicate. You can have that whole, this is what I think you and the team should be doing this offseason, Ryan, is at least a couple full 500-mile test runs on iRacing.
I don't think you can do that from the keys.
No. Well,
that Wi-Fi is a little shaky.
You guys both convinced me to buy that sim during.
Don't point at me.
Yeah, definitely don't point at him.
I came into an engineering meeting. We were all wearing our masks, and you're like, dude, it's basically the way of the future. We're going to be doing this all the time. We're going to be racing physically on the racetrack.
You fell for it.
I said they. I don't think I ever used we.
Definitely not I.
I love my SimCraft sim. And I love iRacing. So.
Right.
Well,
you use that as much as James does. Yeah.
After that shameless plug, dude, I'm getting on it today. I got to start working on Daytona. I've never driven a Lamborghini before, so I got to hope that it kind of looks the same, feels the same. After that shameless SimCube, what is it? SimCraft?
SimCraft, yeah.
SimCraft plug. Let's talk. You talk about the budget and having that in line for Indy. Let's give your sponsors a little bit of love.
Yeah. So, well, in the past, it's been the foundation of is 101 Studios, right? Which is Yellowstone, which is all these, really top of the line shows. 101 Studios is why 46's Ranch was on the side of the car. 46's Ranch is Yellowstone, the show. They also have their own, online ordering for.
They have their own everything.
Products.
They have their own steakhouse in Vegas.
That thing has been promoted the heck out of. I mean, if I have the story correct, 46's Ranch was something Taylor Sheridan, who created Yellowstone, knew about and actually wanted to use in the show originally. The owners at the time didn't want them to use the 46's Ranch, so he created this fictional Yellowstone Ranch, loosely based off it. They squeezed it into the show, and in the show, Taylor wrote himself as the guy that worked at the 46's Ranch. And then the story I heard was the family wanted to sell it. They called him up first. He asked how much it was. It was an insane amount of money. He said, I think it was like, it's $330 million. He goes, I'm $300 million short. Let me call you back. And he called up Paramount and said, if I write you 2 more shows, can I get an advance on those? And that's how 1883 and 1923 came to be. He bought the 46's Ranch. Now he runs it, and it's like a marketing machine. It just does everything from steaks to sponsoring IndyCars.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely. You're right. And everything is spun off that, right? Their partners are one of the companies I work with, Venture HR, which is a HR company. They were one of the primaries last year. Things are changing a bit this year. The car is going to look quite a bit different. Same foundation with 101 Studios, and it'll be a way different looking car. So looking forward to dropping
this
that.
might not be something that you can answer, but with all of the support and the backing and having everything pretty much locked in right away, the next logical step is a full-time program. Is that a conversation that's come up with you at all?
With me, no.
Okay.
Not with them in the future, maybe with the new car and things like that. Yeah. I have no interest in going full-time. So it's something that
takes away from the coin hunting.
Well, yeah, you got to keep your priorities straight.
Right.
What are we doing here?
Well, so yeah, I mean, I get the full-time thing has passed, not something that interests you in the future, but are there other things in the sport that interest you going forward? Do you want to be the next TK and run a team or something like that? Or
That sounds like a lot.
That's stressful as hell, man.
It does, for sure.
Couldn't
I'd be interested
go treasure hunting at all. No.
No. I mean, you got to get the priorities right. I'd definitely be. I'd be interested on the TV side.
You stay the hell away from my job.
Yeah, I'm coming for you, buddy.
You don't have a job.
I don't have
You're
one.
secure.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's why I don't have a job yet. You're out there fishing for a job.
Yeah, they keep calling me and they're waiting on an answer, but I just no. Yeah.
We got a taller, more American, better looking guy with more successful racing history. Why don't we hire him instead?
Yeah, not true. But I would. Yeah, I don't know what I don't know on it. I would like to. I really enjoyed it. Like when we did it at Detroit, Long Beach, at Indy. I enjoyed it for sure. On the other side, do I want to be on a Spirit Airlines flight out of Fort Lauderdale 4 times a week? No. But maybe Alex can pick me up.
So full-time anything is not really on your program. Part-time racing, part-time TV work, but I don't want a full schedule of anything.
I do. I would love to still be in IndyCar in that regard. I love IndyCar and I love everything about it and the racing and the people. And I'd love to, be involved. And I think I can naturally talk. I probably have the freshest perspective, even compared to you, my friend, on the behind the wheel and driving these heavier behemoths. I could speak naturally to it and things would come. Obviously, I'd have to do work on as you do, right? As anybody does in their profession on becoming much better at that, like the kickback, the back and forth and stuff like that. But a lot of it, I think, would come naturally to me, and I'd definitely be interested in that.
Yeah, man. I loved having you part of the shows when we did it a few times with NBC. So fingers crossed something can come together. It'd be fun to
Thanks, man.
all get to do it again at some point. Yeah.
I'd love it. Yeah, I'd love a shot at it.
He really just wants to do it so he can talk about me.
Right. Well, if I could just get those digs in, yes, the little digs here and there, right? The subtle digs are the best digs. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. How is everything at ECR? How's home now? Good.
It's good, bro.
That's right. You know the squad there, Ryan.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's changing every day. A lot of new people. A lot coming in. But it's also weird because it's all hypotheticals. You know what these year-long off seasons are like. You can only have so many conversations about like what you think's going to happen or what happened in the past and how you're going to be different this time around and all these sort of things. And until you get into something which is still 6 weeks away.
Yeah.
I
can only imagine with you because you like
hearsay.
You're obviously very involved in your program and your car and you're I don't want to say micromanaging, but you're managing,
He's
the
a hands-on
where
leader.
it's going hands-on. Yeah. So transitioning to a new program like that with which is quite a bit smaller than what you've been used to and things
You'd
like that.
You'd be surprised.
They got that sugar-free spending spree.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's smaller people-wise. Like you don't have 300 people running around in orange, do you?
Right. Well, it's papaya, and it was only like 170.
It's orange. Okay.
Only
I'm pretty sure we're all allowed to now say it's orange.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Andretti wasn't small either. So.
No, you're right. I mean, we don't have 70 people on the commercial side, and we don't have 25 interns. But listen, we're gonna do what we can. And honestly, man, like the Indy test was cool. It's funny. I was talking to James about this. There's been so much crossover, right, in this sport, considering how long this car has been around, that I truly believe everyone from Penske to Coin is running the same iteration of the same thing. There's no magic right rear spring out there. There's no magic toe setting. Like everyone has each other's stuff. And so all these cars are within this box at Indy specifically, I believe, because I got in it and it was like, well, that feels the same as...
It feels like a race car.
It feels the same as everything else I've driven here, plus or minus this little thing. I think the most exciting thing for me was Hunter's test at Thermal. You know, they came with a new concept from a damper package that they've been working on for the past several years, and the pace was there, and he was happy with the car. So
sweet.
Time will tell.
That's music to your ears. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? With IndyCar, mostly outside of Indy itself, but the damper side of it's massive, as we've seen. Yep. And James, you were also there when that was all blowing up with the inerters and at Andretti. Do you remember the performance gains we had at Sebring? Sometimes with those things were just
huge,
wild.
Huge.
It was like 0.3 of a second. We'd throw some on, and that was in the beginning, obviously their ramp up, but that's huge. And I'm great to hear. It's great to hear, Alex, that, you guys have a lead in that direction, and that, that team with some cash influx, that's exactly what it needs. Cause it was just, especially even when I was there, it was just handcuffed in that regard. I mean, it's just so much you can do with a limited budget. So
look at this. He's gone from interviewee to interviewer. He's already working on that TV.
I flipped the script on you guys.
You did. That was good. That was smooth.
Didn't even know it.
Yeah. That was subtle.
Right to
we should stop before I say anything else.
Yeah, he's just fishing for information. Well, hey, man, look, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate you taking time out of your, precious coin searching treasure hunting schedule. We are super excited for you for Indy. Really happy that you're back and got that deal done. And hey, man, would love to hear you on broadcasts outside of the month of May if that all comes to pass. So best of luck with everything going forward.
And maybe when you're in town, you could call and
us.
go to dinner.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm not in town very much, so and when I do, I'm usually
not a lot of shipwrecks in Indy, huh?
No. And just quick in and outs. But yes, absolutely. And you guys need to come down here, Alex. There's a strip. Well, it's more than a strip. There's a bunch of Gulf Streams down there, but Marathon in the Keys, like halfway down. It's about 25 minutes from here. Drive.
If I fly down, will you pick me up in your yacht?
Absolutely. That's
interesting.
Barely considered a yacht.
I think we officially got an invite.
I have a plan.
You guys are always invited.
Fly down to Daytona. Fly down to Daytona on Sunday. Don't come for the race. It's Sunday morning. Land there. I'll hop on with you, and then we'll go down to Le Quay.
Yeah, absolutely.
The problem is, and it's just funny how all these conversations tie in together. I would, but I'm in the sim on the Tuesday.
Oh.
Well, hey, fly us down, do a commercial flight to Charlotte, do the sim, fly back, have a few more days, and then we'll head
Makes
back
sense.
in. Yeah, easy. No problem.
I mean, you guys got to be down here in Florida for some preseason testing.
I'll be down a lot in February. I've got my horse down there. I'm going to pop in for the Daytona truck race. I'm going to play some rounds of golf, and then we've got Sebring, so I could tie in a Fort Lauderdale trip.
You've changed. Now you have a horse.
Dude, he's a big golfer. He golfs in the snow.
You have a horse and you golf. The horse. I love that. I got to get caught up with you on that. But the golf thing, I remember you used to laugh at me when I tell you I was golfing.
100%.
Yeah, and now you're.
Yeah, but then I got to your age.
I do listen to the show, by the way, so I know he golfs. Yeah.
You are the only reason I've golfed in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
It's every golf round that I've done in the last 25 years has been your fault.
And we enjoy ourselves. We're freezing cold and we drink whiskey while we're doing it.
Now that I golf, maybe I could be invited to your Racing for Cancer event.
Dude, absolutely. Golf opens up so much. That's why I tell my kids, the future business contacts, your networking, everything, golf is absolutely your friend.
Maybe that's what Tim should do, being so unemployed.
Tim, you golf here and there, don't you?
No, he does
twice
not.
a year?
He doesn't.
No.
I've never golf.
Never golfed.
No.
He putt
Not a lot of options in LA.
at bars.
I've mini golfed a lot. Quite a lot. My putting game is strong.
Even then, I don't think that it is.
Yeah.
All right. This has gone very suitably off track. Enjoy the sun. Alex, enjoy the snow. Tim, go back to bed. And we'll talk to you guys on Thursday.
Thank you, guys. Good to see you. We'll see you in a couple here. Media day.
Thanks, bro.
This has been Off Track with Hinch and Rossi. Off Track is part of the SiriusXM Sports Podcast Network. If you enjoyed this episode and want to hear more, please give a 5-star rating and leave a review. Subscribe today wherever you stream your podcasts. We are at Ask Off Track on Twitter and Instagram. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, we're at Hinchtown and at Alexander Rossi. If you want to follow Tim, though we have no idea why you would, he's at the Tim Durham on Twitter. Find us on YouTube and subscribe to our channel for exclusive video content. Off Track is produced by Tim Durham, and by that we mean Tim.